back to securing the our wood stove to our new slab. So basically, in the previous videos, we had dowel rods set in there to kind of save, where our bolts were going to go, and that was based on the template that we laid out for the base. The Home Depot didn't have any 12. I was looking for 8-inch. They didn't have any 8-inch. Like the longest they had pre-made were like 6-inch bolts. So I had to custom make some bolts. These they still have a 24-inch length. So I cut it in half. So basically two 12-inch. So just bolts and washers, 5/16. They'll go through the base of the storage unit on all four sides, and then I got I think it's 4 foot length, cut it down to 2. So basically it's a 2 foot length. This will go through, so on the underside, this will go in just to add some rigidity to kind of carry some of that weight laterally across from the bolts underneath. So this will actually, the flat side of this, it'll be like this, resting against the undercarriage and the ribs of the undercarriage. And the bolts will come through like this, washer and bolt on the other side. Should lock up the storage and wood burner, no problem. So we're underneath the bus. I'm basically just putting in some brackets in to kind of help stabilize and reinforce the bolts that are holding the fireplace storage and all that business. So yeah, we got these long giant bolts coming through, these brackets, nuts and washers and nuts going on, screwed all the way on it. We're gonna have to go up top, and there's still like an inch more of it to drop. But it was basically I wanted to get under here and get these brackets secure, because you can see they rest right on the frame here, little divot. So once it's secure, it should be pretty good transferring the weight across these two cross members. Last time you saw us mount the wood storage part to the hearth as well as bolted all the way through the floor and braced. So now what we're doing is there are these bolts that came with the dwarf stove. This is the 4K. There's like 8 of them and washers that we're basically putting that go up from the bottom into the stove. Now there's only one. You can see there's 2 holes from the bottom. You can see the 2 bolts in each corner in the bottom. From inside, there's actually, you can see one threaded hole bored through. We were thinking maybe 1 up and 1 down as far as the bolts go per corner, but they're so close to the chamber wall that you can't actually get the bolt in with enough room to screw it on. So we're putting both up from the bottom. Takes a little whacking around. We're basically getting lined up. Use a buddy if you're doing this, so you don't accidentally shift it and drop it on your chest or whatever. So yeah, mallet, just able to tap it. Your head should fit in there and get around, unless you got a huge head. Mine was able to get in there. But yeah, so now we've got those bolts in. I'm just gonna ratchet them down, tighten things up.
And we should mention the 4K stove does come with legs, so you see those legs are off now. We opted in for the additional wood storage. All the pieces that you're seeing here are from Tiny Wood Stoves. So we're back tonight to install these. So basically the pieces we have, since we chose to do an install from the back so that we could have the full surface, we purchased a T. At the bottom of this T there is actually a cap. So what's really nice about that is that we have a straight line going up and down. This will be a lot easier to clean. So within the initial kit, you get a telescoping piece and then all the chimney parts. So what you really need to determine is like what are the missing pieces in between, and there's a nice worksheet to do that we'll link in the video. So we bought this extra, I believe this is a 20-inch piece here. So what we're going to do is continue to install these other pieces. And then each of these will get a clamp. So we added turn that around for you, a sealant for the stove. So that's just added to this back T-piece that we have here.
So we're on to the hole phase for the flue. 6-inch hole saw. That's the diameter of the double wall flue. That's a chimney actually that's going to go through here. I got the pilot hole ready. We basically configured the entire stove pipe to get an idea of where this thing's going to go. Try to get it centered. But yeah, I'm about to cut this hole in the ceiling. My family's out here, so we got a little bit of an audience this week. Wave everybody. Of course, my mom's not looking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna make a hole. So I'm just trimming the outer holes for this bracket. The reason I'm doing this is so when we put the rubber boot on top to help weather seal everything how we're attaching the chimney, the bracket for the chimney. We'll put self-taps to really use to secure it to the top of the bus. So we're back on top of the bus. Basically going to seal the boot collar. That gives us a weather seal around all our brackets, etc. Because we're not actually putting any caulking around the double wall chimney and where we bored the hole. Saw the hole through, so that's going to be open, but it's going to be all covered up by this. We're going with the roof and flashing polyurethane sealant. It's good for roofs and ceilings, roofs and flashing for your roof, watertight seals, etc. This got application temps between 40 and 70, so it's a little warmer today, so we opted with this one. And it's got about a cure time, full cure about a week. We're gonna I'm gonna put a bead on here. We'll drop the boot on. I might actually also put a bead around here. You can see these screws. Put a bead around there, but also one on the bus. Gives us a nice tight seal. And then we'll come back and I'll do a seal around the edging just to make sure we're super secure. So as you can see, some of the sealant oozed out, but that's what I wanted it to do, so we get a nice grip. I smoothed it out, but I'm gonna come back and put another bead in to get a really, not necessarily secure, because what we got on is secure, but we want to make sure we're not giving any opportunity, so it's just like a little more insurance that no water's going to get in. So now I'm going to drop some self-taps through. That'll help keep it, a nice good grip while it's curing for the next week, and then I'll put another bead down. So yeah, just using Tex brand self-tapping screws, metal to metal. Number 12s at 1 inch. Same ones we used when we put the braces up. So I'll just pop these down. Again, the brackets for the brackets that hold the chimney, they're right here, the feet of those. So as you can see, there's a little bit of distortion in this little aluminum bevel or collar part. And I'm not going to put self-taps through there because those already the brackets are already self-tapped in, so I'm going to stop at those points, so just in case any of you are wondering. So you can see I dropped self-taps in. I put them about in the middle just because I know where I put that second bead. So I put a bead of sealant down on the roof, but I also did a bead on the underside of the boot here, and then so theoretically, when those two get, they get smushed out, these self-taps should be going through that layer of sealant, so that should help seal any gaps caused by those self-taps going through the metal roof. So last thing to do, I'm just going to do another bead, clean it up, and we may get a test fire going. So the rubber boot is looks like it's nice and secure. You can see all the other ends of the of the self-taps, helping it keep its grip, so the sealant cures, the roofing sealant cures. So the only thing we didn't do yet, just because we're not going to secure everything per se, because we want to do a test burn tonight. So this collar here is just another water barrier. Think of it like an umbrella, essentially. So what this does is go, obviously that slips over the chimney, and this sits on top of that rubber boot, that gray rubber boot. And then we'll put a bead of this clear flexible sealant around there. It's for windows and doors and roofs. We'll just do that to help seal this to the chimney itself. So that way, any water that runs down the side of the chimney doesn't get between this gap and get down to the rubber boot part. That's firmly seated around the chimney, so it's just another layer of insurance to keep everything nice and watertight.
Pretty awesome. So this is the end of full installation minus getting that rain shield up.
Yeah, there's a couple more things like Angelique said. Just some final things. But this is the first burn. We're just checking to see if we're seeing any smoke come out. So the one thing to note is if you're doing this with dwarf stoves, we actually changed one of the pipe fittings here. So the telescoping pipe, if you can see, it's got the bigger section of it on top. That's what we did. Their instructions has it flipped, and that's just the way all the pieces married. So flipping it, everything seats perfectly. So we've got the clamps on, and we're just going to keep an eye on making sure there's no smoke.
So there's a gap here. So Tiny Wood Stoves, if you're watching this video, let us know, or anybody else.
Yeah, if you say, if there's a reason, if you can tell us exactly why, no, it should go the other way. And the reason, my reasoning was we're watertight up top, so anything back drafting from the top shouldn't be happening. And if it does, I'm guessing, yeah, sure, it'll leak here. But in the same respect, any smoke from the burn is venting upwards. So this pipe, this part of the extension is sitting inside, so it's overlapping. So the smoke's not going to roll back; it's going to keep going. Heat rises. So that's my logic. Everything's going upwards, so we can do it that way. We have fire.